Good morning and welcome back to the Football Terrace. We're sponsored by Hitch. Get the app downloaded now. Best social polling app in the world. And one of the biggest reasons we're here in the sunny, beautiful, sumptuous Doha in Qatar. I'm joined as ever in the mornings by my man KJ. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, man. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yesterday was nice. The build-up towards the semi-final day. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Obviously got my Ballers in God football kit on. I'm ready, man. I'm ready to
I like it. I like it. And obviously we previewed Argentina, Croatia yesterday. So you've still got time to do your predictions on the Hitch app now. Link in the description, QR code on the screen. Tomorrow we're going to be previewing France versus Morocco. We've got lots of good content coming out for you as well. We did a great challenge yesterday in the center of Doha called 50 for 50. It was all about watching people do their keepy uppies, and you're going to love it. Some brilliant attempts, some terrible attempts, maybe even an attempt from someone called Terry Flewers, but we will see if that makes the cut. But lots to talk about this morning ahead of the semi-final day as well. And the first big bit of news, Kevin Palmer has told us that Liverpool have an agreement in place to sign Jude Bellingham next summer. Last night, Argentina press is telling us that they've signed Enzo Fernandez.
Yes, he did
Fernandez.
it. He did it.
I keep calling him Hernandez. I don't know why my brain's gone. Jude Bellingham as well. Can you see a world where Liverpool Football Club buy both?
Hell no, bro. What is this kind of foolishness? Unless you're telling me that the Saudis or Middle Eastern country have already agreed to buy Liverpool Football Club, and it's just in the background working. There's no way that Liverpool signed both Enzo Fernandez and Jude Bellingham. Both of them are basically 100 million plus players. 200 million on two players they sorely need. I'm not saying they don't need them, but 200 million on those two players, plus some of the other areas they need to fill. FSG ain't got the facilities for that. You know what I'm saying? They do not.
Yeah, I don't see him signing both as things stand right now. However, this is where it gets interesting. Are they doing groundwork now because a super rich owner is going to come in where spending that level of money is doable? First thing I would love to see is again, I'm petty when it comes to this. I want to see Klopp's reaction when he spoke about, imagine he signs Darwin Núñez for a record fee, and then in the following summer signs two midfielders for record fees after saying that basically, they can't spend like others. This is what ends up happening every single time a manager says, "Oh, we don't do it that way." Eventually, you're forced into doing it that way in one way, shape, or form. But Bellingham at Liverpool, if we just talk about the actual player, Enzo Bellingham added to that team, Liverpool for me bounced straight back into being title contenders instantly. Jude Bellingham as an individual, I know a lot of people talk about Musiala and other midfielders or attacking midfielders. Yeah. Jude Bellingham is the best teenager in the world. There is no better teenager. Listen, Gavi, Pedri, all these guys are great. Jude Bellingham is better because one thing Jude Bellingham has that none of them guys, in my opinion, do, he's got the technique, he's got the vision, he's got the passing ability, he can use both feet, he can drive with the ball. But the man has got, and I don't like using the P&P phrase, I use a slightly more stylistic version, which is,
tell me.
No, it is strength and athleticism.
Man's played Football Manager once, saw it on there. I'm like, yes, that's how I do it.
Well, no, I look at it this way. I've got a friend who's a bartender, but on his CV it says hospitality supervisor.
Oh yeah,
that's what you do.
You sprinkle a little spice
dustbin
on it.
men now call themselves like high environmental hygienists. yeah, that's what I'm doing rather than P&P. But P&P is an important element of football as long as you are not diminishing a player to just having that. And for me, Bellingham has it all. So if he goes to Liverpool, they're going to be dangerous, very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it will be a scary proposition. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I would hate to see it. If they do it, you know what? If they do it, I'll put my hands up and be like, yo, they are probably the best run football club in the world. Because to do that is insane. So yeah, Jude Bellingham, like you say, the athleticism, he's so young, but he's got a man's physique. Where the people around his age group, you can say, don't have that. So, yeah, amazing business if they get it done.
It is, but viewers, Jude Bellingham to Liverpool, 100 million. Give me your thoughts in the comment sections on that. We're going to run some polls on these on the Hitch app as well to see whether people think it's going to happen or not. There was another story I read today about another big player at this World Cup, Rafael Leao. Chelsea held talks in the summer for him. We're willing to pay around 70 million. What's now being said, let's make sure I'm reading the information that was sent through to me this morning correctly, is that they now want 150 million euros. Just briefly, do you think Rafael Leao is worth 150 million euros?
Again, I don't like them doing this to players that I like, because now I have to sound like I'm a hater. No. Like, no. Like, he's been amazing for AC Milan. He's been very, very good for Portugal as well. Like, some of the goals he scored has been, like, beautiful. But this is World Cup tax at its finest. You know what I mean? This is what it is. 150 million euros for Rafael Leao, a young player who's got bags of potential, but there's still more room to improve. How far are these prices going to go up? When are we going to start to see 200 million become the casual thing? It needs, for me, these prices need to come down, man.
The thing is that they're not going to come down because TV money continues to increase. You know, there was a great article in The Athletic this morning that spoke about how there are no bad players, but there are no exceptional players. Football's become globalized. It's all about money. The way most nations, the way most clubs, everyone kind of trains in a similar way. There's less and less variations and styles coming through now. It's all one way. Everybody trains two-touch football. This is all what makes things expensive. It simply does, and it's just the direction that football is going in. And look, I'm not going to condemn it overly because I'm still working in football. I'm not going to stop working in football. I've got, you know, my standards in life. If you're going to condemn something and work in it without trying to change it, and I'm not going to try and change it, shut your mouth. Like, unless I'm going to go out there and start being an activist for change, stop whinging to a degree. But it's the direction that we're going in. The money in football's continuing to grow. The sponsorships continue to grow. Social media makes it as well, plus the TV rights money. But I think Chelsea, like, they need to bolster that attack. 150 million euros is a hell of a lot of money, especially with the exchange rate the way that it is right now. Like, the pound is rather weak. It's rather weak indeed. So it's costing you a lot more money than maybe it would have done 5-6 years ago. But Leao is a very, very talented player. And I think when you look at the overall Chelsea attacking lineup, it just needs, over the next 2 seasons, I think it needs a complete 100% overhaul. Probably barring Raheem Sterling, I'd be interested to see with some extra quality around him. But Chelsea fans, what do you make of that 150 million for Rafael Leao?
Well, what's on your mind, Terry? Speak to me.
Southgate ain't been sacked yet.
I thought you weren't calling for his head.
I'm not. He hasn't sacked or hasn't left, which makes me believe he's going to stay right now.
Yeah.
I read an interesting tweet. So this pricked my interest, to say. It said that Danny Mills is talking the most blind bias I've ever heard on TalkSport. It's tough because he's backing a mate, as in Southgate. 3 times Southgate has frozen the sidelines when the opposition were on their knees. And we've already spoke about that. Yeah. But this was a stat that came from this tweet from a guy called Neil Robertson. 24 times he has played a top 10 team, and England have won 4 times. And this is my issue with Southgate. And a lot of people will say, we've got to back him, we've got to back him, we've got to back him. And I understand the rationale to why. I do. But we have to look at the big game performances. And I have to be true to my philosophy on football. And if anybody wants to come on and challenge me, remember, this offer still remains. Come on screen, and if you stumble bum me, if you Kathy Newman me to a point where I cannot render a response that is coherent, you earn £10,000. If you're already rich, we'll give it to charity. But my philosophy is this. What you do in big games is massive. What you do in clutch moments is massive. What you do in the build-up to that is very important. Yeah. But how you deliver in those moments is key. So I am confused as to why people are not, at least if you're backing him still, they're not talking about that element. The bias is there. For me, it's like, I'm happy for him to stay, but pressure needs to be put on him to at least improve that area of his management. That isn't happening, and it's frustrating to me.
Yeah, and people are doing this thing where they're taking out the context of what's happening. So it's, well, we got to semi-final, final, and in the quarters, he has to stay. You know what I mean? Without acknowledging that on the way, the only team that we really defeated in that was Germany.
Yeah, we beat Germany. Obviously, we've beaten some good teams in the Nations Leagues and in friendlies and things like this. But nearly every big team we've come up against, we've failed. We've failed, yeah.
And then also in like you say in the high pressured moments, he's like a deer in headlights. He gets stressed. He struggles. He doesn't look like he's up for the occasion. So I'm not even surprised that he's taken so long, or the FA taken so long to decide what to do, because that's what we used to see. Like Enrique, gone. He probably said, I need to leave himself. Tiche, gone. He probably said that I need to leave himself. These managers that have got standards to win the highest trophies, they know.
And that's it. And I keep saying with England, what stands out in my head is what Liverpool did with Brendan Rodgers going on to Klopp. He did a brilliant thing there, Brendan Rodgers. He got them to a place where they hadn't been for 30 years. But then he had to go. Yeah. Question for you, though. Is Southgate leaves or is sacked?
Yeah.
Got a choice of 4 here. They're the 4 favourites for the job. Who would you take? Poch, Tuchel, Brendan Rodgers, or Steven Gerrard?
Yo, some England fans ain't going to like what I'm going to say. But bun this whole, they have to be English thing. Give me Timmy T now. Give me Thomas Tuchel now. And I say Thomas Tuchel because what he's shown at Chelsea is that he could take a group of players and for a tournament run, he would do what he needs to do to get to that final and win that trophy. You don't win a Champions League in 6 months by being a terrible manager. I believe he has the way of playing to win the big trophies. He's got to how many finals with Chelsea in his 2-season stint? We need that at England. We've got the players who have gotten to finals now. Now we need to bring someone in to win it. Poch, great football, question marks over if he can actually do the job. Brendan Rodgers, he seems right now like damaged goods. Steven Gerrard, he's too early in the game. Like, he still needs to learn. So for me, the best option will be a German manager in Timmy T.
Yeah, like I saw Jamie Carragher tweet today that the next England manager has to be English. And I just don't agree with that notion. I have a philosophy in life that applies to all peoples at all times, and that is the best person for the job should get the job. I don't believe that there should be no quota. So this is a quota, essentially. He has to be English. Like, being English is on the job description. Don't agree. I feel this way about most elements of life. There should be no quotas per se. It should be the best person for the job gets the job. Everybody's entitled and encouraged to apply it, and the best person is picked. That's just how I operate as an individual. And I believe the same should be for the England manager. I don't necessarily want him to be English. Now, if they interview loads of people and Gerrard is the best candidate due to his plans and how he wants to play, and it fits what the FA are trying to build. Because I'm not going to lie to you, what the FA have done in the last decade with St George's Park, with the under 15s, 17s, 18s, 21s, what the women's team have done, they haven't got a bad process at the moment. England are getting better. So if they deem that Gerrard or a Lampard is the right person, I will support it to a point where I'm like, okay, well, let's see how it goes. However, if Thomas Tuchel, if Poch, if Luis Enrique, if they're the best guys for the job, the fact they don't hold a British passport, for me personally, is absolutely irrelevant. I just find it's irrelevant. Yeah. Football clubs hire managers that have no association to their football club before they come in, and they fall in love with it. Rio Ferdinand grew up in southeast London in Peckham, was a West Ham boy, played for Leeds, but if you hear him speak about football now, he says we. His time at Manchester United has made him an honorary Manc, and he's a Man United fan. I believe the same thing can happen nationalistically when it comes to sport, because there's a professionalism. These are professional people, and I don't think it matters personally. But viewers, what do you think? Who should be the next England manager? We want your thoughts and feelings below. Now, my final point of the day I wanted to bring up, and we're going to talk more about this tomorrow when we speak France, but I've been thinking about the greatest centre-backs of all time.
Okay.
And I want to make a claim here. If France go on to win this World Cup, Rafael Varane, for me, becomes the best centre-back of the past 30, 40 years. And I put that time bracket in because that's my age range. So of my generation, he becomes the greatest centre-back we've seen. And he goes into the conversation to be one of the greatest centre-backs of all time, with your Beckenbauers, Terrace's, Bobby Moore's. If they win it, not only will he complete a back-to-back World Cup, he'll be the first European in almost 100 years to do that.
Yeah.
I know there'll be multiple French players in this team that have done it, the Mbappés of this world, but we're talking centre-back specifically. He'll be one of the first to do it in over 100, the first to do it in nearly 100 years. There's only Brazilians in the modern-day era. There's only Brazilians that have two, and that's the R9's era and team. He's got those 4 Champions Leagues, multiple league titles, multiple domestic trophies. Excellent on the ball, great athleticism, a wonderful defender.
Yeah. Rolls Royce.
And he's only 29. To have achieved all that by 29, if he wins it, for me, there has to be a conversation about Rafael Varane being the best of our generation, and maybe, just maybe, the greatest centre-back of all time.
Oh, greatest centre-back of all time.
All time. Conversation.
I love Rafael Varane. Maybe I need to re-evaluate who is in the list of greatest centre-backs of all time, because obviously I wasn't alive for like most of them to be there. So we can have the conversation. I think with Rafael Varane, people love to diminish his accomplishments because of, one, he played in a Real Madrid team that had Ramos in it, and Ramos is seen as one of the best centre-backs that we've seen in our generation. And 2, he now plays for Manchester United. If he didn't move to Man United, he would probably already be in this conversation. But because he's here now, and the season that we had, people are like, oh, he's finished now, that's it, it's over. So for me, if he wins his World Cup, we can have the conversation. We can have the conversation, but he has to. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight.
It's gonna be tight, and they may not win it. But I'm just thinking, sometimes who gets praised as the greatest ever, it becomes about fan movements and what fans say and what fans do. And listen, of the recent history, Van Dijk is held above Rafael Varane. But Rafael Varane's career, consistency and performances, and I swear Varane's younger.
Yes.
I haven't looked. I swear he's younger than Van Dijk. So he's the younger man. He's played at the highest level longer than Van Dijk.
That's true.
Played at giant clubs longer than Van Dijk. Won more leagues, won more Champions Leagues, won a World Cup, won the Nations League, and still has maybe 4 or 5 years left to add to this trophy haul. Now, let's just say as well, he's part of a Man United team that starts to win some trophies again. The level of fame that will come with that, because one of the biggest 2 clubs in the football on the planet in terms of team supported. I just think Rafael Varane, like a number of other players that we've spoken about this World Cup, Olivier Giroud to a certain degree. But Varane's is worse. Varane, for me, is probably the most underrated player I've come across in world football, because he's done and achieved and been integral in so many achievements of some of the greatest teams that we've witnessed. And yet his name is never mentioned, but yet people fall away from those sides around him, and he continues to shine. So I just want to get the viewers' take on that. Where do you rank Rafael Varane in terms of greatest centre-backs of this generation and of all time? KJ, always a pleasure to speak football with you. Ladies and gentlemen at home, thank you very, very much indeed for tuning in. We're back to later on today with more content for you as ever. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. Download the Hitch app now and earn money. Get paid money for using that app. It's amazing. Get it done. See you all soon. Bye-bye.